In case you haven't noticed, the world is constantly changing around us, and I would even say that we are at the beginning stages of a transition that's transpiring right in front of our very own eyes. Yes, I'm talking about the transition from combustible engines to all electric, and pretty soon, ICE vehicles will be a thing of the past as the world seems to be running for and embracing the move towards electrification at an accelerated pace. With these changes coming quickly, my question to you is, what are you doing to position yourself to benefit from these changes? In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about BLNK. Is it time to buy? Well, we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to be starting right now. Hey, what's going on? It's Pat from Top Ticker Trades. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to grow your wealth through investing and trading stocks in the market, make sure you start right now by subscribing and tapping that bell so you never miss a thing. I'll see you in the video. Let's go. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about BLNK stock. Now, earlier you heard me talking about this transition towards electrification. Now, I do realize that for some of you, the transition may not be as obvious or as apparent, and I think that it all is going to depend on where you're located. So, for example, if we're talking about the United States and you lived in a state like Arkansas, where I'm from, where things tend to catch on just a little bit late, then you may not think that the EV market is doing much at all, as you're probably not very exposed to it. But you may see an EV here or there and run into a handful of people that maybe own an electric vehicle. But that's a rare occasion. On the other hand, if you're living somewhere like California, then you know exactly where the EV market is going because you're exposed to it and you see what's going on. You're living that life. With that said, I'm going to share some quick data with you just to give those of you that are from little small towns, small states, whatever the case may be, somewhere where you're not familiar with what's going on in the real world, you know. I want you guys to get my point, so let me show you this. Currently, there are 26,586 charging stations in the US, with approximately 85,353 charging outlets, but only around 111,000 gas stations. And the number of charging stations has doubled in just the last 3 years, which for me is a big sign. Like, ICE is going away and, the EVs are like coming in and taking over, right? Yes. So as for EVs, there are more than 1.2 million electric vehicles in the United States right now. But, and this is a very big but, matter of fact, it's a huge but, the global EV market is expected to grow at a 25.6% CAGR from 2019 to 2026. And for those of you who don't know what a CAGR is, I'm going to explain it in English. It's basically the compound annual growth rate of an investment over a specified period of time that is longer than 1 year. And it's actually known for being very accurate. But now, before I lose my train of thought, let's go back to talking about EVs and the global EV market. So it's forecasted to reach over $567 billion with a capital B by 2026. That's insane growth. And I want you to capture a part of that growth, okay, and put it in your pocket. So by 2025, EV sales are going to be projected to account for about 30% of all global vehicles. Now, that's a lot, because we're talking about 30% of all the vehicles in the entire world, okay? And I'm about to tell you in just a second how BLNK can easily capitalize on this or profit from this. But first, we got to get to that part, because we're going to take a look at their business model, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it and maybe what I don't like about it. but it does make a lot of sense to me, their business model, and they're pretty much setting up to take advantage of this. Now, if they're going to profit and take advantage of this, guess what? You can profit and take advantage of this through them by taking advantage of them, if that makes sense. So why don't we have that conversation and talk a little bit about what BLNK actually does. So the company designs, manufactures, owns, and operates EV charging stations, and their goal is to pave the way for the adoption of EVs everywhere. And the way that they plan on doing that is through deploying and operating a global charging infrastructure. So currently, as you may have imagined, they are working on developing this infrastructure, which is essentially a network of public charging stations. Now, to date, BLNK has deployed over 23,000 charging stations. Most of these are networked stations, which means that the drivers can charge their electric vehicle at any of BLNK's locations worldwide. That's right, I said worldwide because they have locations worldwide. And their principal line of products and services includes its BLNK EV charging network, which they've appropriately named BLNK Network. It also includes EV charging equipment and EV charging services. Now, if you want to take a quick look at your screen, you'll see their BLNK network in the United States, which runs on BLNK's proprietary land-based software and operates, maintains, and tracks the EV charging stations that are connected to the network and the associated charging data, which is pretty darn cool if you ask me. I like that a lot. Now, on a more serious note, well, it's not that serious, but remember that number we discussed earlier, the value of the global market, which was, $563 billion or something? Well, that's based off of the EV purchases that are forecasted over the next 4 years, okay? I believe it's about 8 million vehicles within the next 4 years that are going to be purchased globally. And BLNK has positioned itself to benefit from that growth in sales through the establishment of some key strategic partnerships. Now, these partnerships are specifically for rolling out adoption across numerous location types. These include parking facilities, multifamily residences and condos, workplace locations, healthcare and medical facilities, schools and universities, airports, car dealerships, hotels, mixed-use municipal locations, parks and recreation areas, religious institutions, restaurants, retailers, stadiums, supermarkets, and finally, transportation hubs. So these guys are doing pretty good. I mean, take a look at all their clients across the verticals. I mean, they're working with a lot of different companies, and I like to see that. I'm sure you do too. I mentioned earlier that BLNK generates revenue through sales, advertising, and providing services. The company sells hardware to host locations and electricity to the EV drivers. So the last thing I want to mention is how I acquired my position. Now, if you'll recall, back to July, BLNK was up by about 95%, which is huge. Unfortunately, in August, it got demolished and dropped by about 36%, even though they just had a positive earnings release, like pretty much a record-setting earnings release, or record-setting for them, and that's for that quarter, which was the second quarter. The shares were trading at nearly $13 one day, and then down to $6 the next. It turned out that Culper Research published a short report with some nasty allegations. Luckily, I ignored the BS news and started to accumulate shares. While I was buying, people were complaining about the crash and started selling off all of their shares at a major discount. This is exactly why we're talking about this right now. And if you know what you're investing in, then don't let anyone else talk you into dumping your shares. Those that sold are probably buying in right now at nearly double the cost, essentially wasting a great and rare opportunity to make money. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, you've made it to the end of the video. If you found this video helpful, I ask that you help this channel out by smashing that like button, as it motivates me to keep making videos just like this one every single day. If you're not a subscriber, you should consider subscribing, as I publish valuable content like this daily. You can do so from your screen right now, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can click on the video that you'd like to see on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.